So welcome to this episode, and this is where we're going to speak about the topic of where do I even start? So as you watch me now or listen to me now, I am currently filming this bang in between Christmas and New Year. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people soon trying to work out where did they even start when it comes to getting fitter, getting healthier, getting in better shape. So what I'd like to do in this episode is talk about, I'm going to give a few examples, hopefully some of those made up people, those fictional characters will resonate with a lot of you. But it gives me a chance to introduce 5 areas or 5 foundation basics that we should all be looking at and trying to improve. So to get us started, those 5 areas. So the areas you need to be looking at when you're trying to improve any part of your sort of physical fitness and health, and as well as sort of mental. Diet is one. Diet's a big one. Movement, exercise, sleep, and mindset. So they're the 5 areas, and what I'm going to do, depending on when you're listening to me now, I may have already recorded this, but what I'm going to do is record an episode for each one of those areas, and I'll go into a bit more detail on each one in sort of that 5-part series. So diet, movement, exercise, sleep, and mindset. They're the areas that a lot of us need to look into, depending on what your goal is, depending on what your outcome is. I still find people now that I chat to that are just picking the wrong thing to do to improve, to get to the goal they want. And we'll talk about that as we sort of go along. But yeah, diet is key. So in terms of, depending on what your goal is, calories in could be important. Also, types of food you're eating. It might be a case that you want to just improve that quality of nutrition. Movement-wise, people just think about that as steps. Oh, I've got to hit my 10,000 steps or whatever. But movement is anything that you do that is more than just sitting down or lying down, and not quite as much as exercise. So it could be just pottering around the house, could be cleaning, tidying up, could be out in the garden, pottering around at work. So it's not just being outside and walking and getting your steps in, although that is part of it. And again, movement is massive when it comes to calories out. So we've got diet that's going to dictate how many calories we take in. Movement is going to be a big indicator of how much we burn. Next one obviously is exercise. Lots of form of exercise, and again, depending, and hopefully we'll talk about this as we go through the examples, try and work out what it is you want to get out of it, and that will then dictate what form of exercise you perhaps want to do. Although, to be honest, if you just want to get a little bit fitter, pick something that you're going to enjoy. There's got to be an enjoyment aspect as well. But we'll go over different types of exercise when we get to that. Sleep is massive. And again, what blows my mind still to this day is all these 5 areas are interlinked. So if you improve one of these areas, there's always going to be sort of a knock-on effect to the other 4, and sleep's massive. And there's one of the examples that we'll go over is sleep as well. But sleep, out of probably the 5, will have the biggest impact on all those other areas as well. And the episode on that should be quite good. And then mindset is number 5. Mindset is your mood, your positivity, motivation, all those kind of things. And we'll talk a bit more about that. So there's your 5 areas, and that's what I'll be referring to as we go through this episode. So, like I say, hopefully we've got 4 examples, we've got 4 made up people that I will talk about and give my views on where these people should start. And hopefully one or two of these may resonate with you, and you might be able to have some kind of takeaway from this episode. So let's get to it. So person A, let's say as well that all these, so there's 4 examples, but let's say their starting point, because that's the other thing that can affect what you start doing first. What is your starting point? So let's pretty much say that all 4 people have got similar starting points, so similar ages, similar weights, similar activity levels. So let's say none of them exercise, none of them move a lot. They're all sort of in quite sedentary jobs, so they're sat down for long periods of time at work, and then they may be sort of in the car to get to work, to get back, taking the kids about, so there's not a lot of movement. And they're all sort of, not feeling great about themselves. So person A, their sole goal it's a pure weight loss goal. Okay, so person A, it's just about weight loss. They just want to see the number on the scales go down, and they just want their clothes to start fitting a bit better. So they maybe have just gradually put weight on over a period of time. It might be the holidays. It might have been just before the holidays, and the holidays have just accumulated in them gaining some weight. And they're at a stage now where they're thinking, look, I just want to get some weight off. That is their sole focus. Hopefully, like everybody, once you set your goal or your target, once you've got to that target, you can then change it anyway. But initially, person A just wants to lose weight. And we've already discussed the background. So for me, it's just an energy in, energy out. It's a calories in, calories out situation. If you want to get that 5-7 pounds off as quick as you can, start feeling a bit better, then you've got to reduce the amount that's going in, and you've just got to increase the calories you're burning. So the 2 things you need to do, that person just needs to look at the diet, have an idea, an awareness of sort of, so many people I talk to, as soon as you mention tracking, they're like, oh, I've not got time to track. Oh, I can't be doing that. No, I'm not doing that. But it just gives you such a good starting point. It gives you such a good awareness. How do you know how you're going to reduce your calories down if you don't know what's in the food you're eating and the meals you're eating? So you don't have to track every single thing. You don't have to measure everything out. But just have an idea of what calories are in the meals you're eating. So for me, I would start off, just try and reduce portion size. Let's say, a simple one is, let's say you have 2 sandwiches for lunch every day. Well, perhaps try and drop it down to 1. Evening meals, let's say something that's got pasta in it or rice or potatoes. Rather than having 5 scoops or 5 spoonfuls of that, have 4, have 3. All you need to do is get into that deficit. You just need to drop your calories down, get into a couple of 100 calorie deficit each day, and you should be starting to lose weight. The other thing for that you could do is maybe some swaps. Like I say, I wouldn't go too much into it. You just want to try and get those calories down. So go for some maybe low-fat versions. Have a look, but you need to know, and you need to go on to sort of MyFitnessPal or whatever tracker you're using, or just look at the back of packets. Is there a lower calorie version of the stuff you like? And then just reduce it down. There's nothing major. We don't need to go from, from 2,500 calories that you've been eating all the way down to a 500 calorie diet. But just start having a look what's in the food you're eating and see if we can reduce it down. And then the other thing is just try and take your calorie burn up. So this is where movement comes into it. So like I say, person A doesn't do any movement. They're sort of sat around. All they do is pot around the house, pot around work. So start off with trying to maybe have a 10-minute walk before you start work. Maybe your lunchtime at work, try and head out for 10 minutes, or when you get back. Implement those two things and you should start to lose weight. And you should lose, well, whatever it may be, £1, £2 a week. So within, 5 or 6 weeks, you might get to your goal. But there's just two things. What I'd like to say now as well at this point is the more changes that you try and make, the harder you're making it. So I would literally, when you're starting out, pick 1 or 2, 3 at the very most, but they can't be 3 big changes. So for this person A, they're 2 relatively easy changes, relatively small changes. Get consistent at that. Be doing that on a regular basis, day after day. And then once they've become a habit, over 5, 6, 7 weeks, once you're into that routine, then you can look, you've dropped your 5, 7 pounds, feeling a little bit better. What's the next stage? But implement them, get consistent with them first. So that's person A. Person B. Now, person B, same sort of similar starting point, but there is, and again, depending on when you're watching this, I'm going to film and record an episode about the difference between weight loss and fat loss. There's a massive difference between weight loss and fat loss. So this person B, doesn't just want to drop weight. They want to see a reduction in body fat, and they want to tone up and see better shape. And ultimately, they want to look a little bit better in the mirror and feel a bit better. So again, similar to person A in the fact that there's got to be some kind of calorie deficit there. But on top of that, there needs to be some kind of workout. So I would suggest for this person, again, just looking to reduce your calories down. Maybe if you can, get out for a walk, but you need to start working out. Need to start lifting weights. If you want to get that toned look, that make your body feel a little bit firmer, you've got to start lifting weights. So whether that is getting some weights from home, whether that's going to a gym, maybe it's going to a class that involves lifting. But again, I would start off with, especially if we're now maybe 3 changes in this person, I would just look at just doing 1 workout a week to start with. So you're trying to reduce your calories down. You're maybe going to try and move a little bit more, but just try and do 1 workout a week. Once you've done that for sort of 3 or 4 weeks, then maybe go up to 2. But you've got to be lifting weights for that person to get that tone and change that shape. That's fairly simple. So person B, similar to the changes person A is making, but you need to start bringing in some lifting of weights. Yeah? Then we go on to person C. So person C, not really, it's not sort of losing weight, but they just want to feel fitter, stronger, and they want to move better. So this is, I've got quite a few people in my classes that I'm always joking that they can bang out a press up, look really good, do any sort of floor work, but getting on and off the floor, they sound like, they're in the 90s. It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So this person, it's the exercise. They want to feel fitter, they want to move better. So they're getting that feel of, I'm starting to feel old now, I'm struggling to get on off the floor. Or it's a case of, I forgot something upstairs. So they've ran upstairs and they're out of breath. So they want to feel fitter, stronger. So this is where they've got to get working out. And this is where I would concentrate on, again, and the knock-on effect, like I say, once you start, it's been proven, I think it's been proven in studies, that when you start to work out, the knock-on effect, you automatically start to eat better, especially on those days. I know people that start training with me or doing classes, it's like they don't want to ruin the hard work they've done. So the day that they train, they don't want to then eat rubbish. They want to eat better to make that day a bit more perfect. So this person needs to perhaps do two things. They need to be picking a workout where, again, they're sort of lifting weights, but they may want that to be in some form of circuit or some form of HIIT style class. So they're getting a bit of fitness out of it, a bit of cardio out of it as well. Also, the movement aspect, they need to be picking something like a Pilates, like a yoga, something that's going to strengthen, especially that core, but something that's going to get you moving better and get you moving through nice full ranges of motion. Because that's the issue, is we're all just a little bit too stiff and tight, and we need to be stretching and moving through bigger ranges than we currently live in. So for that person, like I say, a bit of a HIIT class with weights that's going to get your heart rate up, get you breathing, but also get you lifting to strengthen you up. And then something like Pilates that's going to help with the movement and making you strong through a full range of movement through all your joints. That's the big thing. Or you could go down the route of, again, like go to the gym, start working out, and at the start of your workout, bring in some mobility. So as part of your warm-up set, go lighter, but try and get into a deeper range. For instance, the squat, which is a big staple of people's workouts, and is actually going to allow you to get up on and off the floor a little bit better. Try and work in the early stage of your workout. Go a little bit lighter, but really try and get deep into that squat. So go through a full range through your knees, through your hips, work those ankles, and that's going to help you with moving better. And the whole idea is that you're going to strengthen up through that full range. So that's person C. And then person D. Person D is just shattered, just tired all the time, got no energy. Their mood's quite low, they're lacking motivation. So you've got that mindset and sleep area of their lives that they're struggling with. Sleep's one of my favourite things, because actually there's a massive knock-on effect into all those other areas when you get your sleep right. Sleep's one of those things that you don't realise how poor it is until it's taken away from you. You know, if you have that 1 or 2 nights of poor sleep, you then come to understand, oh my goodness, mate, you do not function on those days after poor night's sleep. So if you're lacking energy, I've got a client at the minute as well that is just really struggling with sleep. And like I say, she's really struggles with energy, with motivation. You know, get up and go is got up and gone. The big thing is to sort out your sleep in this scenario. Once you've sorted your sleep out, you know, I can pretty much guarantee your mood is then lifted, your mood's more positive, you've got motivation to then get out and move a little bit more, you'll then be more inclined to exercise. The real positive knock-on effect is massive from sleep. So person D needs to work out why they're not sleeping. It could be the case that, you know, they've not got the temperature right in the room, you know, there's too much light coming through the curtains. It could be they might not have their setup right for actually going to sleep. They might not give them enough time for them to start slowing down from the day and actually start to relax, ready to go into it. There's lots of areas, and we'll discuss quite a lot of those, all of those, in the sleep episode. But person D needs to get their sleep sorted out, and once they've got, you know, 2, 3, 4 a week's worth of good sleep banked, they'll start feeling better. Energy levels should improve. Their mood will be more positive, and then I guarantee that person then will then want to have a different goal. They might want to set their step target, maybe start training once a week. And like I say, mindset will be greatly improved. So there's 4 examples, A, B, C, and D. Hopefully, one of those resonates with you and has just give you an idea of what you can